Welcome back, everyone. It's here. We're finally here. Super Bowl week is right around the corner. Super Bowl's on Sunday, and it's gonna be a lot of fun for everyone. But we got some other NFL news that we'd like to cover before we talk and take a deep dive into the big game. But first off, Braden, how are we feeling?
I'm ready to just get the Band-Aid off at this point. Um, yeah, not a ton of NFL news compared to a lot of other news
A
around the
couple
sports world.
stories.
I'm sure you
Yeah.
guys have covered that already in your other podcasts.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, let's see what happens Sunday.
Brock, how we feeling?
Duval. Sorry, I just had to keep
That's a
that going.
staple now. That's a staple on
Um,
the pod. Until he gets fired, that is a
at this
staple.
point, yeah, we are now
Honestly,
the
it might be even funnier once he gets fired.
yeah.
If he gets fired,
If he gets fired, at this
I
point,
shouldn't shouldn't
the
say.
sports nerds will now be known as the number one fans for him. So,
Yes.
or the
The
one,
Liam
number
Cohn
one
fan
mockers.
club.
I don't know. No, number one fan club right here.
Yes.
Um, Yeah, I'm ready to just kind of get it over with. I'd be interested to get your perspective from a Chiefs fan, but I feel like this might be the most underwhelming Super Bowl week ever. Like no one cares except for the media people that are forced to talk about the Super Bowl because the Super Bowl is going on this week. Even then, they're wanting to talk about a league that's losing viewership by the day. So, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't even really thought about the Super Bowl outside of the halftime performance. Honestly,
True.
Honestly, I could say the same.
because
Ye-
if you listen to the 515 Sports podcast that was posted earlier on Wednesday, we want to deep dive with Hunter Rose on Kendrick Lamar and the overall expectations for the performance. He's a big Kendrick Lamar fan, so that's why we talked to him. But outside of that, have not even thought about necessarily the matchup, um, what's on the line for both teams, and whether or not I'm actually excited for the game.
Yeah, and before we really take a dive into Super Bowl, there were a few stories that broke earlier this week that I'd like to cover a little bit. The first big one happened Monday morning. Miles Garrett requesting a trade from the Cleveland Browns. Uh, Miles Garrett's obviously one of the best defensive players in the league and has been for ever since really he stepped in as a rookie for the Browns. And Garrett, he's 29 years old at this point. He's wanting to win a championship, and with the way the Browns are trending, it's not looking good for them to compete anytime soon. What are your guys' thoughts and reactions on Garrett requesting a trade, and where do you think he could potentially go? Where do you think his next team will be?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. He's starting to get to a point where you kind of need to start winning things, and he plays for Cleveland. So you're the Browns, I should say. Should specify before I start making all the money mad. But um, yeah, makes sense. He wants to be traded, like you said in his little speech to Cleveland. Like obviously he loves the city of Cleveland, but yeah, he wants to win a ring, and he's not going to do that as a member of the Browns. So, as far as places I would like to see him go, I think the Commanders would be a really good fit there. They could really use some help on that defense. Um, I mean, obviously I'm biased, but I think the Niners would be a pretty good look. Um, the Lions would be I don't know how they could make that work, but if they could, man,
Man, him and Hutchinson would be insane.
yeah. It's
You
hard
kind
to
of
think
go
of
all
AFC.
in.
It's hard to think of AFC teams just because I don't know if the Browns want to trade them in the conference, and most of the teams that would make sense in the AFC are in the AFC North, and they are not
Right.
doing that to themselves.
No.
I kind of like the idea of him going to Buffalo.
I could
That'd
see
be
that.
interesting. That'd be interesting.
This is just a hypothetical trade that the Athletic put together. Let me see who wrote this. Zach Johnson, part of the Athletic staff, the NFL staff at the Athletic. He put together the Buffalo Bills potential trade package, which would include a first round pick in 2025, so the number 30th pick, the second round pick for the Bills, the 62nd pick, a fourth round pick, 2026 first round pick, AJ Epinesa, and another corner for Myles Garrett, a 3rd rounder, and a 6th rounder. And I'm not going to lie, if financially that works and I'm Buffalo, if that was a legit package that the Browns would actually want, I'd go for it. Because what has been the one little weakness in this dynasty of the Chiefs? If you have a good pressure on Mahomes, and even then, Mahomes is still going to find a way to make certain plays. But you think back to that terrible performance in the Super Bowl versus the Buccaneers back in 21.
We don't
When Mahomes literally has no help, he's human. So if you put in one of, if not arguably the best pass rushers in the league, I think that puts you in a great position, which, I mean, you were that close already to the Super Bowl this year. So,
yeah, the top 5 teams are teams with the best odds to acquire Garrett. These odds are listed as of February 6th, so as of this morning, I guess. Browns are still a favorite to retain Garrett, but if he's moved, the Commanders are plus 450, followed by the Lions at plus 650, Patriots at plus 850, which I thought was kind of crazy. And Brock, don't get too excited, but the Cardinals at plus 850. I don't see a realm where he gets traded to Arizona, but
I don't know what we would give up. That's the
maybe
problem.
just draft picks on draft picks on draft picks. But
the Cardinals, no one's signing as a free agent to Arizona, so they need the draft picks. Arizona is a franchise that, yeah, the weather's somewhat nice, but like the market's not big enough to draw the big free agents, so they got to build through the draft. So they tried that with JJ, and it didn't work out. So the fact that that's even on there, that's kind of hilarious. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, some of the other teams listed include like the Raiders at plus 950, followed by the Eagles, Packers, Bears, Bills, and Rams. So the Bills are on that list. I think now that you said that, Brock, I think Buffalo would be a really good fit. It kind of feels like they need like an all-star pass rusher, and Myles Garrett is that plus some. He's been the most consistent pass rusher since he entered the league in 2017. I think having 10 sacks in every single season since he got drafted, which is a pretty insane stat. But yeah, he's gonna be the big name that could potentially be moved this offseason. And the haul that Cleveland could get in return is probably going to be one of the bigger trades we've ever seen in recent NFL history.
Which is crucial, trying to rebuild what they gave up for
Right.
Deshaun Watson.
Right. It kind of reverses the wrongs with the Deshaun Watson trade, and they're able to get some draft capital. Is Garrett worth a top 10 pick? Like, it's a question some teams are going to have to answer in the next few months with the draft. 2.5 months away at this point as we're recording, but yeah, it will be interesting to see what team he ends up on, or if he ends up staying with the Browns, and Browns are just going to stand put and not trade him, which I don't think will happen. But
the Browns need to really just
they need to do him
blowing
right.
up, and there is like literally starting all over, and they need to start all over.
I think the only way to do him right is to trade him.
Yep.
To a spot he preferably wants to go to, not Siberia.
Don't screw over arguably one of the best players in the league, and potentially one of the best pass rushers, or just rushers in general in NFL history, depending on how his career ends up.
Right. The other bit of news that I would like to cover, Cooper Kupp announced on his social media that he is most likely going to be traded from the Los Angeles Rams. Sounds like the Rams are going to really...
We are free, Brock. We are free.
We are free. The downfall of this Los Angeles Rams team is finally happening.
So, yeah, it sounds like Rams are going to be trying to find a new team for Cooper Kupp. Yeah, what are you guys' reactions, thoughts, and again, where do you think is a good landing spot for a guy like Cooper Kupp?
Oh, man, it feels good. It feels great to know that I don't have to deal with that going against my team twice a year. Along with that, yeah, obviously he's a really good talent. I think, I mean, he's getting up there in age. He's had some problems with injuries, but if he can stay healthy for a couple more years, I think he's going to provide some really good value to a team that is looking to win. As far as teams that are looking to win that need a receiver, I mean, I feel like most teams kind of already have their wide receiver one kind of figured out. Maybe like the Packers would be an interesting one. You had Josh Jacobs out either yesterday or whenever saying that they need to go out and get a wide receiver one. I don't know what's happening with that whole dynamic right now because apparently the Packers wide receivers didn't really like Josh Jacobs going out and saying we need to prioritize getting more wide receivers to replace y'all.
Truth hurts.
But, yeah, fair enough. But yeah, that's the best spot I can think of off the top of my head right now. But I'm sure you guys probably have some better ones.
Honestly, I saw it and I didn't even really consider where he would be traded to. I don't know if numbers say he's still a wide receiver one. I don't know if he can be a wide receiver one for a Super Bowl contending team. But if there would to be one, honestly, going back to the Bills, I think the Bills have an opportunity to actually do something because everybody at this point is like, what is it going to take for the Bills to get over the hump? You know what? Making a move for a big star this offseason would make me a believer that the Bills could actually do this for once. Because until proven otherwise, I think the Bills are either going to lose in the conference championship or the divisional round of the playoffs for years to come. And now I don't know what the package would look like to get Cooper Kupp into Buffalo, nor I don't know if Cooper Kupp wants to go from LA to Buffalo. That's a big climate difference, both city size wise as well as weather wise. But no, I actually do like the Green Bay option as well. Because I do think Green Bay needs to beefing up that wide receiver room. But outside of that, there aren't. Maybe Jacksonville is someone I don't know what they would. I'm just thinking of teams that kind of need that star wide receiver, and Trevor Lawrence I do think is still a MVP potential quarterback with the right weapons around him, and so Jacksonville would be someone that would be a long shot, but if it would to happen, I think it would be a great fit.
I was just thinking, you want a long shot? I don't know if this doesn't make him a Super Bowl contender by any means. What about Carolina?
Let's go, Frisky Panthers.
What about the Frisky Panthers?
That'd be good.
Basically, just get another better Adam Thielen.
Let's go. I'm all for that move. The Frisky Panthers back into contention.
It had been too long since we had a Panthers match, and I had to get one out there.
Right. Some of the odds for Kupp's next team. A couple teams we didn't even think about or mention. Broncos are the favorite right now to land him. Which him with Bo Nix, I like that.
Do you have to give up Cortland Sutton though?
I wouldn't think so. I would think it's probably just draft capital.
You'd kind of hope not.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is as long as if they can keep Cortland, then I would be all in if I'm a Broncos fan on that.
The second team was the Bengals. I don't see how this works.
They hate wide receivers.
I guess this assumes you lose T. Higgins.
Well, they're going to.
But trading for a 31-year-old wide receiver one with Jamar. Granted, I think
that'd
be really good.
Cincinnati hates wide receivers.
Yeah. Next was the Steelers, plus 470. I would stay away from that if I'm Pittsburgh because you don't even know what your quarterback situation looks like in the next year. So that's a team that he could potentially go to. I'm going to throw two crazy long shot ones out there, and I want you guys' honest opinions. I first thought of the Chargers. I think Herbert, and Ladd McConkey, that's a nice little duo. Nice little duo wide receivers.
That's what I was thinking is, you want somebody to train Ladd McConkey.
Right. No other
build him into
than Ladd McConkey Sr., basically.
Pretty much.
And then the other team I thought of, him going back with his old quarterback. Why not go to Detroit? Him, Amon-Ra, Cooper, Jameson Williams. That's arguably the best trio of wide receivers in the league.
If I'm Detroit, let's put up these two players that we've been talking about. I'm going after Garrett before I'm going after Kupp.
Right.
Because you're dealing with that those rookie contracts still right now with some of your key players, at least. Hutchinson really is the only one that is a big deal with that. And so why not get a guy that's an all pro player now, not necessarily someone that may or may not still be an all-pro player come next year, because we've seen wide receivers over the years. You mentioned someone mentioned Adam Thielen earlier. When he left Minnesota, he wasn't Adam Thielen anymore. Granted, I can't remember his last year in Minnesota. I don't think it was necessarily that explosive Adam Thielen seasons that we were accustomed to in Minnesota, but like usually when a wide receiver moves on after a while, they don't look the same. AJ Green was on his downward slope before he left can't talk today. Cincinnati, but when he got to Arizona, he was still he took even another step down. So being with a team that you've been with pretty much your entire career, going to a different system, different coaching staff, all that stuff, I feel like it does take a toll on a wide receiver. And when you're 31, it's hard to relearn a system as a wide receiver and still be elite. There's the few, obviously, select few
Right.
Hall of Famers that can do that.
Yeah. Some of the other teams listed too that are
Is Arizona on there?
Picks. No, Arizona's not on there. Commanders, giving Jaden another weapon, I think is really interesting. Patriots. I don't quite get that.
Stop with this. The Patriots are going to be able to do whatever. Are the Patriots the like Lakers of the NFL, where it's like everybody thinks they're going there?
That's I guess, dude. That one doesn't make any sense to me. Chargers, which we mentioned, Lions, and then Cowboys. Another weird one where it's like they already have CeeDee Lamb, they have some other wide receivers on that roster, and you're about to pay Micah Parsons, you're about to pay him $40 million a year. I don't think trading for Cooper Kupp should be in your realm of possibilities if you're the Cowboys.
Draft a wide receiver before they trade for one at this point.
Yeah, I
they have
agree
too many
with that
people they need
statement.
to pay right now. They cannot afford to pay Cooper Kupp.
Right. But yeah, those are kind of the odds for Kupp. Sounds like that deal will get done sooner rather than later. I would bet it's done by the start of the new league year, which I think is like in the middle of March or when free agency opens. I think the Rams are going to do right by him. That's another franchise player that has been with your franchise through the ups and downs. And I think the Rams are going to do him right. They're going to trade him to a team he wants to go to and that he's able to still contend. But yeah, that's Cooper Kupp when he's in his prime. I know it's been only, 3 years since he won the Triple Crown. I mean, he was arguably the best receiver in football, but who knows? Maybe his new team can tap into some of that talent that he was just showing a couple years ago. But that one we'll have to keep our eye on over the next few weeks, maybe even a few months. But now we're going to talk about it. 18 minutes into the pod, the big one, Sunday's game, Super Bowl 59, Chiefs Eagles on Fox, 5:30 Central Time. What are your guys' thoughts on this game before we get into like score predictions or picks for this game?
The game will not kick off until at least 5:45. I guarantee it. If not after 6.
The halftime show will be an hour long.
If you think you're going to be tuning in at 5:30 and you're not going to see the game kicking off, if you think you're going to see that, you're dead wrong.
This game's ending at about 10:35.
Oh yeah, for as good as and cool the Super Bowl is, the NFL knows that, and they like to stretch the longest amount of time.
Money's worth.
Can we just point out how next week, not February 17th, so not this Monday, the next Monday, is President's Day? How do we not have how haven't we figured it out that the Super Bowl needs to happen the day before that Sunday? So February 16th this year, and then that Monday is a holiday, so you have Monday off.
You could do that by adding an extra game or adding an extra bye.
I think an extra bye would be better. Just because I think the players have pretty much all said, hey, we are not playing another game. 17 is enough. I think give an extra bye, give people a chance to recover, so that way you have less of an injury risk. It's a win-win really across the board. You have an extra slate of games to be able to play.
Right.
Or an extra week to be able to broadcast. I think it just makes sense to give an extra bye week.
Yeah, kind of a missed opportunity for the NFL when you really think about it. Because it feels like the Super Bowl just keeps getting pushed back further and further and further. Kind of like how college football, the national title used to be like January 6th. A few days after like the big January 1st bowl games happen, like the Rose Bowl and all that. But now it's like what the CFP next year is not till like the 26th or 27th of January, like
Well, you
almost
don't
at
give
the.
2 weeks off in between conference championships in the first round.
It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense scheduling wise. You still got players that are starting their spring semester that aren't even done with their first semester sport. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense with the CFP, but
Give me the. I don't care though. Like this is one I will fight people on. Give me the Super Bowl the day before President's Day, and then having the President's Day, one of those holidays that most. I know not everybody gets off. Most people get off, because some of us have to drive an hour after the game back home. So, not being done until 11:30, and being that I'm going to be watching with a lot of Chiefs fans. If they win, I just know it's going to be even a bigger issue. So, yeah. I'm not looking forward to Sunday, honestly. This is the least excited I've ever been for a Super Bowl.
Oh, that's not true.
Oh, no. It's okay, I guess. No, Kendrick Lamar, but
I was going to say, there's some highlights of the Super Bowl, even if you're not a Chiefs or an Eagles fan.
Leave at halftime.
That's a good point.
Watch the halftime show and then leave.
That's true. I don't know.
I would be on the floor knowing that crew that I'm going to be with, knowing that what I do for a living.
You guys have been like Super Bowl parties, obviously. I don't need to go into too much detail with that. Doesn't it feel like the people that don't watch football usually, that aren't like NFL truthers, even like casual NFL fans, they talk during the game and then they're quiet during the commercials. They go, oh, we want to see the new commercials and all that fun stuff. And it's just like, come on, we're trying. The point of this whole celebration of the NFL is the game.
Those people.
It's not to see, oh, that's the funniest commercial. Oh, the Doritos commercial yet again is the funniest one out there.
The commercials aren't even funny anymore.
They're not. It's been a steep downhill slide since like
2020.
I will say, maybe? I'm assuming you guys have seen the minute 30 long Jordan brand commercial about the band shoe, because it's the 50th anniversary or something like that, or 40th. That one, I'm assuming that one or a version of that will be shown periodically throughout the Super Bowl. Not gonna lie, kind of looking forward to that one, because it's one of the best marketing things that any athletic brand has ever done, is promoting that they paid for a band shoe. And for those that don't know or don't understand why they call it the band shoe, watch the movie Air. Great movie, and you'll learn a lot about the marketing behind why Jordan Brand is such as big as it is today.
It is a great movie. What is it on? It's on Prime, right? That movie?
It is? I might watch it this weekend.
I think it's on Prime. I think that's how I watched it when it first came out. I don't know if it's still on Prime. I haven't watched it. Probably.
I'll watch that instead of the game.
No, you don't want to do that. We got to have our reaction show next week.
I can watch the highlights.
Ew. But yeah, with the Super Bowl,
I'm gonna give you a heads up of what my reaction is gonna be. Is just this.
The thumbs down. Either way.
I'm just gonna sit here for an hour and change, just doing this.
Oh man.
We're not having fun, Dawson.
I
just want this to be over with.
I'm having so much fun. But with the Super Bowl comes with all the funny like bets. Brock, I don't know how much you talked about it in the.
Oh, if you want to like watch, just non-planned, just chaotic podcast, listen to the 515 Sports Podcast. We talked literally about the most random bets that you can place. Like you can go on Gatorade color. You can go on FanDuel right now and bet whether or not Drake will release a song on Sunday. And I'm not even joking.
Oh man, I might have to.
A bad bet.
I might have to get some action on that one, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
Maybe not Sunday, but Monday.
Yeah.
You definitely go check out that episode. We had some great ones. I don't know if I mentioned it in the episode. I found one that was you can bet on whether or not the national anthem in total seconds is higher or lower than Saquon Barkley's total rushing yards.
Oh, that.
So 100.
It's usually about 2 minutes, right?
Yeah. So
120 yards. Ooh.
See, they got some
Ooh.
fun ones on FanDuel. I'm happy I don't bet, because I would have some fun
You
with
should
this.
not have told me that, dude. I probably after we get off here, I might throw some dollar dues
Go on
that one.
FanDuel if you want to have some fun and look at some. You can bet on Tom Brady's tie color too.
That one I have no
Gamble
interest in.
responsibly.
Please
gamble, please.
These are not
Only bet with
responsible
what you
bets.
can.
Unless it's a lock, like then all bets off the table.
All right.
I'm kidding. Kidding. That's my one
by
joke.
the way, Kansas City's not the only group that's going for the first ever three-peat in NFL history this weekend.
Let's hear it.
The color purple for Gatorade is going for the first ever three-peat for Gatorade colors. Clear had a four-peat, which is basically just water. And if Kansas City does that, I will lose all respect for Kansas City. It better be purple. Because
purple's the
Gatorade
heavy favorite, dude.
It's the best Gatorade flavor, dude.
Come on. I don't know if I'd go that far.
There's no debate.
Purple's good, but the best?
It's the best.
It's like an A tier Gatorade.
Oh, what's better? If you say fruit punch, I swear to God.
No, this might be crazy. I love the OG lemon lime Gatorade.
You know what's funny? Chase yesterday said that's the worst Gatorade flavor.
I love that one.
I used to be an avid lemon lime Gatorade hater, but I've grown to respect it as a
I will say,
Gatorade game.
The non-traditional flavors, the best non-traditional one is the white glacier cherry. That is the best one. It's not even close.
That one is fire.
That one is the best Gatorade.
That one or glacier freeze.
Yeah, if you're taking away the traditional ones, so like lemon, lime, red, blue, purple's traditional, somewhat. The white Gatorade, the glacier cherry one, that is the best one out there.
I don't think they'll have that.
No, they don't.
You know which one I like? I don't know if it's my favorite, but we got it like once or twice at football. It's Riptide Rush.
That's the purple one.
The other purple one. There's the gray and there's Riptide Rush.
You guys ever had the cucumber one?
No.
I've had it once and it was
It's not that bad. Low key, it's not that bad.
I'm not gonna lie, you guys are gonna hate me. The only reason I hate Riptide Rush is because I grabbed it assuming it was a grape Gatorade.
Oh.
And then when I had it,
so
like I refused to ever and this was after I was done working like a big long state event this past summer, and I was just like, I just want a Gatorade, and I was like, oh, there's grape, yes. I opened it and I was like so disappointed. I refused to ever drink that again.
It's like grabbing a fruit punch one thinking it's strawberry.
I know.
And being like, oh man, this isn't strawberry. I hate this.
No.
I'm never drinking it again.
I'm big disappointment. By the way, you can bet on whether or not they show a coach crying during the national anthem, coach or player crying during the national anthem.
That's actually free.
That's free money.
Chris Jones and Nick Sirianni are in this game.
They're gonna put them side by side.
Free money.
They should have a bet on whether or not who's gonna cry first, Sirianni or Chris Jones.
Chris Jones.
They should have a bet who has the longest
strand of tear.
Dude, I didn't even realize some of these. I thought like I knew some of the crazy bets, but these are some crazy ones.
Dude, FanDuel, I don't know how this is like possible, legal or anything. Like this seems like just weird that this is a possibility. But like,
hey, if anyone's got info on what the Gatorade color is, you let the 515 Sports Pod know so I can throw some hefty dollars on that. If it's purple, I would like to know. But
I'm gonna refrain because I have connections, but I'm not like I'm not
good.
What do you mean you have connections?
I know people at certain organizations. I'm not.
I know what Brock's referring to.
So I'm not helping you guys out with Gatorade stuff, and that's why I don't bet because I don't.
Here's my question. Okay. Here's my question with the Gatorade thing. Are there multiple different flavored jugs on the sideline? Or is it just like, hey, this game blue, this game purple?
I would guess there's multiple.
So what determines like, is it just like the nearest?
Yeah, it's just whatever's closest.
I guess, dude. Like,
honestly, though, I wouldn't be shocked if certain teams just like certain flavors because like the fact that the Chiefs have had purple twice now in a row.
I wonder if that's like the really like the top players are just like, you know what, we have to keep purple at this point. Like we're not going to switch them. We're not going to put blue. We're not going to put red at this point. We got to stick with the purple.
By the way, so we made hypothetical bet placements on the 515 podcast. We did celebrity guess for the halftime show, I put The Weeknd, and
good one.
right now The Weeknd is plus 310. Just released a new album, has a couple songs with Kendrick Lamar. Makes
Can I
sense.
put money on Leanne to a ball?
I thought the Weeknd's whole thing was like he's done after that new album. That's like his last appearance as The Weeknd. Maybe Abel Tesfaye shows up, but I doubt he says like I'm The Weeknd. Yada brada.
I don't honestly. I have no idea. Taylor Swift has jumped up a little bit.
She's just not gonna do that.
Um,
Although she does have one song with Kendrick, where
Blood.
Kendrick's a big feature on it.
yeah,
So maybe if they sing that song,
you can for plus 3,500. You can bet Drake is going to show up and perform
No.
with Kenny.
No.
we'll not be doing
Maroon 5 has better odds than Drake.
I
They
think I
would
would
pay
bet. I'd bet me before I bet Drake.
that. Dude, honestly.
He is not doing that.
They-
I love Poetic Justice as much as the next guy, but I don't think they're pulling that one out at the Super Bowl.
So
No.
something to keep an eye out for. There's been rumors on whether or not they're going to perform Not Like Us, what the last song's going to be, all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
They have since taken the what is Kendrick's last song going to be off of FanDuel.
Someone
it was
knows
on
something.
last night, and Not Like Us was the heavy favorite. So
Someone's got some insider info.
something happened. Something happened there within the last 24 hours. But Humble is the Humble and DNA are the two that are favored to lead off the halftime show, which I mean, you probably want to start with a song that like even people that don't follow Kendrick know, because
Right.
that's how you get your the fans involved. But
Mhm.
I'm not sure how we got into this.
No, this is what I want to talk about. The goofy bets that go with the Super Bowl. Like
Will
Now you
Saquon
can-
have a birthday cake after the game on the field?
that one's I like that one. Hey, it's Cooper DeJean's birthday too. Don't forget about Coop.
Who?
Cooper DeJean. He's
Oh.
not a safety. He'll lock up your number one. Like that guy.
Did he lock up Xavier Hutchinson?
Nope.
No, I think he scored.
That was young Coop.
think he did.
Young. That was the young Coop.
I think he
That's like-
bodied him too.
that's like
I think he like threw him.
That's
to
like
the ground.
it's like Charizard before he gets fully evolved. Now he's fully evolved.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you just got to give him
Sorry.
time.
Sorry,
Um,
I had to put that
yeah,
right
you're-
on the tee.
Oh man. Some of the other goofy bets that I always like looking at, coin toss. Coin toss is always a really popular one.
Tails.
Tails has won what, 7 out of the last 11 Super
Oh,
Bowls?
I didn't know
Tails,
that. I just
baby.
always
Yeah,
know
Tails has won the last few. I don't know what won last year, but I saw a graphic that Tails has won 7 out of the last 11. So maybe this is the time we put money on heads, but who knows? That's always a fun one.
Do not
But-
fall for the gambler's fallacy. Tails always wins, except when it doesn't.
Tails never fails, dude. Enough with the funny bets talk. I want to get into a deep dive of the actual game, which is why we're all watching. He's 15-2 going to the Brock. I know you're giving me a funny look, but that's the reason why we're all watching this. Chiefs coming to this game 15-2 in the regular season. Eagles 14-3. I think we could pretty confidently say these are the two best teams in the league from start to finish. You could argue the Lions, but I think Philly's defense has really carried them and helped them out more than what Detroit's defense would have done at this point. The big storyline is Chiefs going for history with the three-peat, or can the Eagles stop them with probably the GOAT running back season if Philly wins this? I think you could argue Saquon or Terrell Davis, one of those years he was on the Broncos where he had over 2,000 yards in the playoffs and regular season. But what are you guys' I shouldn't say early thoughts because the game's in a few days, but what are you guys' thoughts on this game? And then where do you think this game ends up going?
I don't know at this point. I think it's going to be a really good, really close game for about the first 3.5 quarters. And then some absolute shenanigans are going to happen in the fourth. And yep,
Are we saving score predictions for the end?
Yeah.
Okay.
in that case, I think that's as far as I need to go.
Brock?
ESPN bet has Kansas City favored by 1, which literally basically means it's a pick 'em.
Yeah.
because it is a neutral site. So
If you are the sicko that's taking Eagles +1 or Chiefs -1, go check yourself in. Because at that point, you gotta just take the money line either way.
if you're doing that, you might as well go on FanDuel and say there's going to be a doink on a PAT,
Right,
Because
like,
that's
not even
that's
worth
Doink
it
it
at
one.
in
that
or
point.
just any doink?
I think it's just a doink in general. So,
Oh, Harrison Butker's due for one of those.
I mean, both kickers are due for
It's
doinks.
Jake
true.
Elliott on the other side. So.
That's true.
But yeah, I will say it is cool that we're at least getting the opportunity to potentially see history on both sides. Either one of the greatest runs in sports history, the first ever NFL three-peat, never has been done before, has almost been done multiple times, but never has it gotten this close. Because I think we said this last week, no three-peat contender has ever made it to the Super Bowl. So
In the Super Bowl era.
In the Super Bowl era.
The Packers won 3 in a row in the early
Don't
60s.
give me your 1920s Green Bay Packers.
I'm just saying, hey, the Vince Lombardi Packers, they won 3 in a row.
Dawson, I'm a Celtics fan, and I don't talk about the Koozie era when we talk
It's
about
the mailman and
NBA
plumber era. I know. I just want to throw it out there.
We don't talk about the
They
people
were
that
wearing
go
leather
work.
helmets, dude. We do not care.
That's
Were they-
rugby. That's
were they
not
wearing
football,
leather
that was
helmets in the
rugby.
60s? I think they were wearing plastic at least.
The Packers three-peat was in the 20s.
No, they had one in the 60s.
No one
I don't
cares.
think so.
No one cares.
Either way, we don't care.
Just saying, just throwing it out there.
Okay, getting back to it. So, the greatest professional football run.
Yes.
I will say that because,
Mhm.
again, this is the one sport where eras do matter, and this Chiefs team would destroy any other Packers three-peat, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Other side, the Philadelphia Eagles are looking for, that revenge from a few years back. Also, Saquon Barkley, who I'm not going to lie, when I heard that he potentially might leave New York, I was like, he'll just always be the good running back statistically. I didn't expect 2,000 yards, 13 touchdowns, backwards hurdles, one play drive for touchdowns in the playoffs. What a season for him. What a season for the Eagles, really, because I would have assumed that they wouldn't be in this position at all heading into this season. And when Washington was on their run, I was like, oh, Washington's going to maybe win the NFC East, and the Eagles were still able to wrap that up. So credit to the Eagles, even though I don't like them, for making it. But yeah, my thoughts on this game is if it's going to be high score, if anyone's going to score over 30, I think it's going to be a blowout. I don't think this is going to be a shootout either way, because I really do think both defenses are really good and really developed to play in these big time situations. So it's going to come down to which quarterback, because people sleep on the Chiefs' rush defense against the run. They forced a turnover against Christian McCaffrey last year in the Super Bowl. So, and that's not me trying to just throw shade at Christian McCaffrey. That's a big deal if you're able to force turnovers against a good running back like that. So it's going to come down to the quarterbacks. Hurts, Mahomes. Hurts I think it seems like his knee's fine now, but you never know. No player is 100% at this point in the season. It's just what percentage is better than 1% is better than 0% at this point. So, dude, I think it's going to be a hard fought game, but I think on the scoreboard, it's not going to be close, because I think that, the Eagles defense is able to pressure Mahomes. This Chiefs team is a little different than in the past, where Mahomes has literally had to run for his life. I feel like their offensive line is a smidge better. They have good wide receivers. They have wide receivers that had huge moments throughout the regular season and have been quiet so far in the postseason. I think about DeAndre Hopkins. People sleep on DeAndre Hopkins just because he's bounced around the last couple of years. He is still DeAndre Hopkins. That's just one guy that hasn't necessarily gotten as much love over the past couple of weeks. This offense for the Chiefs is going to be able to get them enough possessions to put up some points. The Eagles, I just don't think they're going to be able to do anything outside of the run. And when Saquon has 20 yards of rushing in the first half, they're going to start throwing out of desperation, which sets up the Chiefs for good possessions off of turnovers from Jalen Hurts. So if you can't get where I'm getting at this, I don't think it's going to be close. I do think it's going to be a slugfest in terms of punching back and forth on the defensive side of the ball, but one team's going to break through, and I think it's going to be Kansas City. I'll give you my score prediction later on, but hard-fought battle, but the scoreboard won't reflect that. That's where I'm at.
There's a couple different angles you can look at this game. The one I think really is going to be the determining factor for either team winning is the Philly rushing offense versus the Chiefs D-line. Steve Spagnuolo, who's the Chiefs defensive coordinator, in 24 games in the playoffs as a DC, has only given up a 100-yard rusher once. That's not just for the Chiefs. That was including his days with the Giants when they beat the undefeated Patriots and knocked them off in 2011.
Was that the Eagles? Was it Jalen Hurts?
No, I don't know what the 100-yard rusher is. I'd have to. Maybe it was like a Derrick Henry year when Spags' first year with the Chiefs. Or I'd have to do more in-depth research, but that was the stat I saw. I think if Kansas City is able to keep Philadelphia in a second and long, like second and 8, second and 7, where Philly's not just they're able to run or pass on second down, I think it's gonna be huge. I think another matchup to really watch for is where the Chiefs put Trent McDuffie. If they put him on a guy like AJ Brown, he's more physical than Devontae Smith, or are they just gonna eliminate Devontae Smith and really make Hurts throw to AJ Brown, which could cost the Chiefs if it goes wrong. And then one other thing for Philly's offense, Kansas City is known and has been for the last few years to be susceptible to tight ends having huge games. Like that is the one knock on this defense is the middle of the field you can throw on against Kansas City. So look for, if Philly ends up winning it, look for Dallas Goedert to have a pretty big game. I think when you look at the Chiefs offense, I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball very well. Chiefs, I think, had the 31st ranked rushing offense when it comes to yards per carry. So that doesn't go in favor for them. It's going to come down to Mahomes and the receivers if they're able to get separation against one of the best pass defenses in the NFL. I think in the end, though, this happened in the first Super Bowl between these two teams. Special teams is going to play a bigger part than people realize. In that first Super Bowl that they played each other 2 years ago, the game flipped on a couple different plays. It flipped on the punt return, and we've seen in this run, the Chiefs have had awesome plays on special teams. They've had the big run back against the Texans to start the playoffs off. They had a big punt return last week or 2 weeks ago against the Bills. I think Kansas City has a special teams advantage. Jake Elliott's been known to miss more kicks this year than he has in the last few years. I think he's missed 8 this year, field goals and PATs, and I think he's missed 8 in the previous 3 years. So that shows you that they're susceptible at weakness at kicker. I think in the end, though, I think Kansas City's going to pull this one out. If you guys are ready to do score predictions, I think I'm all set here.
Real quick, can you guess the only running back to rush for more than 86 yards against the Kansas City Chiefs since Spagnuolo joined as defensive coordinator? I want to test your Chiefs knowledge.
I think I got a couple names going through my head. I don't know why I'm getting strong like Leonard Fournette vibes, like that year he was on Tampa Bay. But I'm gonna say I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna stick with the Uncle Playoff Lenny. Is it not?
Leonard Fournette in the Super Bowl versus the Buccaneers.
Playoff Lenny. I remember Chiefs couldn't stop a cold in that Super Bowl, so that's why I thought that could have been a chance. But
I'm still trying to figure out what his 100-yard.
It's when Spags was DC for the Giants and the Chiefs. That's the stat I saw out there. But Braden, what's your score prediction for Super Bowl 59 Chiefs Eagles for this Sunday?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be. Give me Chiefs by 10. I think Chiefs are up by 3 with about 2 minutes left, and then get like a pick or a punt return touchdown.
Okay. Do you have an exact score prediction, or are you just going to say Chiefs by 10? Because you were close on that AFC title game. You were a point
was
off on each
close.
side. You picked a 3-point game, and it was a 3-point game. So
Yeah, give me.
that when we come back in a week, we can be like, oh, Braden got it right again.
Give me 31-21.
Okay. All right. Brock?
I don't want to do this.
I didn't want to either, but just rip the Band-Aid off.
I'm trying to think. $35.
Wow.
35-17 Chiefs.
Wow. 18-point win.
Dude, Spags is just, if I don't know if they put defensive coordinators in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, he needs to be if they do.
I don't think the Eagles can do much when Saquon can't run the ball. And you mentioned second and long.
That's
is exactly where Kansas City wants all their teams, their opponents at.
2nd and 8's a huge difference than 2nd and 5.
Exactly.
And if Saquon's able to get 5 yards on first down every time, that totally changes the game plan for Kansas City. Now Philly's able to be super comfortable on passing the ball or running the ball.
I think the Chiefs, like first quarter, it's going to look like, oh, we might have a game here. But that second quarter, I just think something's going to happen, and the Chiefs are going to just open up a can against the Eagles.
The can of whippet.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, they're going to win. 3-peat. Mahomes is going to get Super Bowl MVP. He'll have honestly, you know what? Screw it. He'll have 5 total touchdowns, 1 on the ground, 4 through the air. And this will be and Monday morning, people will be having the conversation that you know what I'm talking about. And we won't, I'm not even going to talk about it until that happens. Because when it happens, then I'm ready to have the conversation that I've been waiting years to have.
I feel like you guys are trying to set me up and jinx me. You guys both have double-digit wins.
Dude, I'm telling you, this Chiefs defense. If the Chiefs give up over 24, I would be a little nervous if I was a Kansas City fan. Just because I don't know what the Eagles defense is doing in return. But I think that the Chiefs defense is going to be the thing that sets themselves apart. And hey, if it's not Mahomes getting Super Bowl MVP, maybe we can get redemption for my boy Chris Jones that got screwed out of it last year.
There's
and here a couple. One sec, ladies and gentlemen. Here comes the 3-point win for the Chiefs from Dawson.
No, close though, not 3. There's a couple scenarios that I've tried to play through my head of how this game could go. I think in the one that I landed on, ultimately in the end, I have Kansas City 27-21. That's still a 6-point win. I think there's going to be a game-changing turnover that's going to flip the momentum of the game. Just like in the first one, when Hurts fumbled, Nick Bolton had that scoop and score to keep it close. There's just going to be a play or two here that's going to really alter the course of the game. And while if Kansas City wins, I think Mahomes is the heavy favorite to win MVP. I wouldn't be shocked if a guy like Xavier Worthy had a monster game in the Super Bowl. Not only is he able to catch and run with the ball for a lot of yards, he's pretty good in the running game on jet sweeps and end arounds. And maybe he can break one loose for a long play. But yeah, give me Kansas City 27, Philadelphia 21 for Super Bowl 59.
Is Kansas City's social media team, when they do finals graphics, do they make like catchy captions? I don't know if you ever look.
I can pull pull one up. I actually don't know.
Because I can give you the caption right now. If the Kansas City Chiefs are the first ever three-peat in NFL history,
Let's hear it.
they not like us. That's literally what it's going to be. Okay. But I know Kansas City is more of a old school type of organization, so I don't know if they'll use that. But and if people that I know who are working for the organization hear that and use it on social media, I expect some royalties for the
Pat Riley.
Hey, I heard that the NFL struck.
They got a deal worked out, so if
the
they
Chiefs
do
can use the three-peat slogan, which screw Pat Riley, man. I don't like the guy,
especially after the trade he made last night.
Tune into the Hardwood Combos podcast this afternoon.
I can't wait for that episode.
I think Chase might be making an appearance, which we need to get his full.
Yes.
Did you go back and watch the 515 podcast? Because that we were recording while that trade was breaking. So we stopped.
You recorded Saturday night or the Butler trade?
The Butler trade, sorry.
Okay. I was going to say, I feel like I would have known if you guys were recording Saturday night
we would
at 11:30 at night.
Yeah, no. I was getting ready for bed during that trade. No, we were streaming during the Jimmy Butler trade.
Dude, easily. I know we'll talk NBA in Hardwood Combos later, but easily the most insane deadline I think we've ever had. I don't even think it's close.
Did you see that? The Jazz cut
Schroeder.
No, they cut the guy that they traded for in that Lakers trade.
Hood-Schifino?
I'm pretty sure. I don't. Let me double check.
Danny Ainge, the madman. He's like, you know what? I'm just gonna take the 2 second-round picks. I don't care about the player. I want the picks.
Let me look up to confirm.
I mean, that was kind of the whole point, was that you get those second-round picks for absorbing Hood-Schifino's cap hit. You don't have to use the player.
That's still funny though to me. I'm not gonna lie. That's still pretty funny.
Yeah, they did cut Hood-Schifino.
Danny Ainge has to be in every blockbuster trade.
I'm telling you, he feels left out.
He does.
He's not involved.
I feel like there's like a little
a radar. Come out that he didn't know that the trade involved Luka going to LA, which I call BS.
Yeah,
how does he not know?
I don't think that's possible.
The Lakers were like, "Hey, you can have Hood-Schifino and 2 number 2s." Ainge is like, "What do I have to give up? Just cash. Sign me up, dude.
Don't worry about it."
And then an hour later, it's like, "Oh, what have I done?
I found out when it was too late. Bull crap.
What have I done?"
Thank you for trying to stay faced with the Celtics organization, but no, we know that you knew.
No.
Hey, man, I don't know. I might have to flip my championship pick because I picked Mavs for the season, but the Lakers.
Are you going for the Wizards now? Marcus Smart and Chris Middleton, man, the best duo.
No, I think LaMelo Ball and Yusuf Nurkic. I think that's a crazy duo too. If that happened today.
This is just the NBA is so stupid.
Connect.
Hey, Dalton Connect too. Hey,
he ain't connecting with nothing.
He's connecting with the bottom of the hoop.
That's true.
That boy butter. That white boy can shoot.
All right, kind of wrap. Brock, you have something? Sorry.
I can't wait for this season to be over.
Are you talking football or NFL?
Football.
I was gonna say.
I can't wait for the NBA season to be over because then we'll be chanting Banner 19. You know.
No, we will not.
And then Jason Tatum will be like, "What they gonna say now?"
Cavs are winning the chip, dude. DeAndre Hunter's the game changer.
No, you just traded the winningest player since 2020.
Dog.
You traded George Niang. You guys are now the Atlanta Falcons of 2015. You guys lost the one thing that was allowing you to win. And for those that don't understand, look it up. George Niang is like the winningest player since 2020.
And now he's going to be sent to Siberia in Atlanta.
And now the Hawks are going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, now the Hawks are going to be a top 5 seed.
Talk to me when the Hawks eliminate the Cavs in the playoffs.
Oh my God, dude. I can't even
2016
fathom.
recognition in its finest.
I can't even fathom a world where that actually happens.
I'm telling you, they made it to the conference finals before. Why can't they now?
That team it's a little different than what they had when they made the conference finals. I think like half or almost all the team other than Young and Capella are gone.
That's all you need. You got the winningest player since 2020, George Niang. That's all you need.
And Karis LeVert. No
What do you
shame, it's
say?
Karis LeVert. All right. Do you guys have anything else when it comes to the Super Bowl or anything football related that you would like to touch on before you sign off?
This is the most
Oh.
excited I've ever been for a.
Yep.
Oh,
Braden,
what does that say?
yeah, you want to zoom in on Braden's?
Yo, it's still
It's never
over.
been more over than it is now. Never.
That's great.
I might need to borrow that if the Chiefs drop it on Sunday, dude. I'm gonna be real.
You can borrow it either way.
I'm gonna be still upset if the Chiefs
Flips
don't
around
win.
the worst so bag.
I'm gonna be mad if the Chiefs do lose, but like at the same time, Dawson, you better hope that they don't, because this podcast is gonna be insufferable.
You know, I honestly, if they lose, I deserve what's coming to me.
If they lose and they lost off of like a terrible call by the officials,
Well, that won't happen.
Oh, we're
That
gonna be
won't
here.
happen.
Oh,
That won't happen, though.
We'll
won't,
watch it
but if
on
it does-
replay.
That just will not happen. Don't put that bad juju out in the air, dude. Don't be doing that. All right. Yeah, another great episode of the Sports Nerds in the books. Previewing the Super Bowl, kind of giving our picks, and we gave a few thoughts on some of the NFL news that broke this week with Cooper Kupp and Myles Garrett. But for Brock Bierman, Braden Bankin, I'm Dawson Livingston, signing off.